Hey guys, how you guys doing? As you guys know, I'm here to bring you guys the reply to the brief. Wow. All right. Just waiting for some people to come on in. All right, I'm gonna use my reader again. Yay, yay me. I got my reader. Yay me. Yep, I got the reader. All right, guys, y'all ready? We will not be on too long. Hello, everybody. Gonna make it as short as possible for you guys. We're gonna start with hold on a second, y'all. My reader's acting up. Hold on, I'm trying to close all of these apps out over here because I got too many apps open. All right, let's see if it works now. Let's see if it works. I have so many things open over here. I need to close some stuff out so I can get my reader going. Okay. Let's see if it works now. I tell you, I don't know nothing about Apple. So I have to get things going the right way.
Case 22-1481. Document 149, August 16th, 2023, 3,557,493. Page 1 of 27 Con. United States Court of Appeals. For the Second Circuit, United States of America v. Appellee Defendant Appellant. Robert Sylvester Kelly, aka R. Kelly, on appeal from the United States District Court for the Eastern District of New York. Reply brief for Defendant Appellant Robert Sylvester Kelly, comma, I, Jennifer Bonjean, Ashley Cohen, Bonjean Law Group, PLLC 750 Lexington Avenue, 9th floor, New York, New York, 100-22718, 875-185-022, 148122, 1982 Infamous Sylvia Case 22-1481. Document 149, August 16th, 2023, 3,557,493. Page 2 of 27. Table of Contents. Table of Contents. I. Table of Authorities to Argument. I. The government failed to prove defendant guilty of racketeering where the record is devoid of evidence of an enterprise comprised of members who shared a common illegal or fraudulent purpose, and where the defendant and the alleged enterprise were indistinct. 1. A. The jury instructions were not deficient. The evidence was to B. An enterprise requires a shared purpose of fraudulent or illegality as the government charged in its indictment. 5. C. The government did not show a common purpose of any illegal or illicit conduct as charged. 11. D. Defendant and the enterprise are not distinct. To 17.2. The government's evidence of intent as to the Mann Act violations related to Jane and Faith were insufficient. 18.3. Defendant was denied a fair and impartial jury where several of the seated jurors admitted that they prejudged the defendant's guilt, and trial counsel provided ineffective assistance of counsel when he failed to move to disqualify patently unqualified jurors. 19. Conclusion. 23.2. Infamous Sylvia Cases. Case 22-1481. Document 149. August 16th, 2023, 3,557,493. Page 3 of 27. Table of Authorities. Bennett v. U.S. Trust Company of New York. 770 F2D 308. 2D Sir 1985. 17 Boyle v. United States. 556 U.S. 928. 2009. 7. Brennan v. Boatman's First Now Bank of Oklahoma. TBA 153 F3D 1144. 10 Sir 1998. 17 Diodario v. Diodario. 901 F3D 80. 2D Sir 2018. 8 Estes v. Texas. 381 U.S. 532. 1965. 21st Capital Asset Management v. Satinwood Incorporated. 385 F3D 159. 2D Sir 2004. 6. First Nationwide Bank v. Gelt Funding Corp. 820 F sub 89 SD. New York 1993. 6 Hirsch v. Enright. 751 F2D 628 3D Sir 1984. 17 Marshall v. United States. 360 U.S. 310. 1959. 21 McCullough v. Suter 757 F2D 142. 7th Sir 1985. 17 Malva U.S. Life Title and Company of New York. 654 F sub 1012 SD. New York 1987. 6 Rito v. Louisiana. 373 U.S. 723 1963. 21 Riverwoods Chappaqua Corp. v. Marine Midland Bank. NA 30 F3D 339 2D Sir 1994. 17 Turner v. Louisiana. 379 U.S. 466 1965. 21 Turney v. Ohio. 273 U.S. 510 1927. 23 Infamous Sylvia Case 22-1000 481. Document 149. August 16th, 2023. 3,557,493. Page 4 of 27. United States v. Chauncey. 378 F3D 71. First Sir 2000. 410 United States v. Dove 2018 U.S. Applexus 5685 2D Sir 2018. 4 United States v. Feldman. 853 F2D 648 9th Sir 1988. 10 United States v. Minicone. 960 F2D 1099. 2D Sir 1992. 11 United States v. Turkett. 452 U.S. 576 1981. 8 Ive Infamous Sylvia Case 22-1481. Document 149. August 16th, 2023. 3,557,493. Page 5 of 27. Argument. The government failed to prove defendant guilty of racketeering, where the record is devoid of evidence of an enterprise comprised of members who shared a common illegal or fraudulent purpose, and where the defendant and the alleged enterprise were indistinct. The government largely concedes that it did not prove beyond a reasonable doubt that defendants in our circle shared a common purpose to engage in a fraudulent or illegal course of conduct. Instead, the government makes a frivolous waiver argument and insists that it was never required to prove a common purpose of illicit conduct in the first place, even though the indictment charged it. The government now seeks to constructively amend the indictment to remove an essential element of its enterprise theory to circumvent its proof problems. The government makes virtually no effort to address defendant's separate contention that evidence of an enterprise was insufficient where defendant and the alleged enterprise were indistinct. The government's evidence at its best shows only that defendant used his status and authority to engage his employees in routine, sometimes odd, tasks that unwittingly facilitated his private sexual activities, that the government suspects that some of defendant's employees turned a blind eye or knew more than they let on is not sufficient evidence that the members of the so-called enterprise shared a common purpose of promoting one infamous Sylvia. Case 22-1481, document 149, August 16, 2023, 3,557,493, page 6 of 27, defendant's illegal sexual conduct, a necessary element to the charged RICO offense. The jury instructions were not deficient. The evidence was preliminarily. The government did not argue below that defendant's Rule 29 challenge to the government's evidence of an enterprise was misplaced, and that its objection was actually to the court's jury instructions. More importantly, the district court concluded that the question of whether an enterprise was proven beyond a reasonable doubt was a proper Rule 29 claim. The government's attempt to recast the sufficiency of the evidence challenge as a defective jury instruction issue is specious. Having proposed the jury instructions, the government knows that they accurately stated the law, that they included the government's theory of an illicit common purpose, and most importantly, that they told the jury that the government was required to prove an enterprise as charged in the indictment. The problem is not with the instructions, it is with the proofs. Critically, the government fails to acknowledge that the jury instructions incorporated language from the third superseding indictment, including the government's claim that the common purpose of the enterprise was to engage in an illegal common purpose. In the instructions setting forth the existence of an enterprise, the jury was expressly instructed that the indictment alleged that the purposes of the enterprise were to promote R. Kelly's music and the R. Kelly 2 infamous Sylvia. Case 22-1481, document 149, August 16, 2023, 3,557,493, page 7 of 27. Brand to recruit women and girls to engage in illegal sexual activity with Kelly and to produce pornography, including child pornography. D303 at page 24. The instruction also told the jury that although the government is not required to prove each and every allegation about the enterprise he enterprise proved must be essentially the one alleged in the indictment ID at page 29. In other words, the government conceded that it was required to prove that defendants' employees or so-called inner circle shared a common purpose to engage in illegal or illicit conduct, namely to recruit women and girls to engage in illegal sexual activity with Kelly and to produce pornography, including child pornography. The government pretends that it never charged an illegal common purpose, pompously declaring the parties' proposed instructions, adopted by the district court, set a benchmark for the government to meet. The government met the mark. And Kelly now objects that the government did not instruct sufficient evidence for the jury to find that another, previously unspecified, required was met. Governor BR 41. Defendant agrees that the jury instructions set a benchmark for the government to meet. One of those benchmarks was to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the common purpose of the enterprise was to promote defendants' illegal sexual activity. The government failed to meet that benchmark. Defendant did not introduce a new unspecified requirement. Rather, the illicit common purpose element was charged, set forth in the jury instructions, and the jury was 3 infamous. Sylvia Case 22-1481, document 149, August 16, 2023, 3,557,493, page 8 of 27, instructed that the government was required to prove the enterprise is charged. The government simply failed to prove the charged enterprise theory by arguing that it was never required to prove a common purpose of illegality as the indictment charged. The government is attempting to constructively amend the indictment on appeal to remove that essential element of the RICO enterprise theory, a constructive amendment occurs. When the evidence presented at trial alters the essential elements of the charges specified in the indictment. United States v. Dove, 2018, U.S. App Lexus 5685-12, 2D Sir 2018. The indictment here alleged that a common purpose of the enterprise was to promote defendants' illegal sexual conduct, that the government now...
Okay, y'all, I'm sorry. I'm going to start it over here now. Sorry about that. I need to, Okay, now.
Argument? The government failed to prove defendant guilty of racketeering, where the record is devoid of evidence of an enterprise comprised of members who shared a common illegal or fraudulent purpose, and where the defendant and the alleged enterprise were indistinct. The government largely concedes that it did not prove beyond a reasonable doubt that defendants' inner circle shared a common purpose to engage in a fraudulent or illegal course of conduct. Instead, the government makes a frivolous waiver argument and insists that it was never required to prove a common purpose of illicit conduct in the first place, even though the indictment charged it. The government now seeks to constructively amend the indictment to remove an essential element of its enterprise theory to circumvent its proof problems. The government makes virtually no effort to address defendant's separate contention that evidence of an enterprise was insufficient where defendant and the alleged enterprise were indistinct. The government's evidence at its best shows only that defendant used his status and authority to engage his employees in routine, sometimes odd, tasks that unwittingly facilitated his private sexual activities, that the government suspects that some of defendant's employees turned a blind eye or knew more than they let on is not sufficient evidence that the members of the so-called enterprise shared a common purpose of promoting defendant's illegal sexual conduct, a necessary element to the charged RICO offense. The jury instructions were not deficient. The evidence was. Preliminarily, the government did not argue below that defendant's Rule 29 challenge to the government's evidence of an enterprise was misplaced, and that his objection was actually to the court's jury instructions. More importantly, the district court concluded that the question of whether an enterprise was proven beyond a reasonable doubt was a proper Rule 29 claim. The government's attempt to recast this sufficiency of the evidence challenge as a defective jury instruction issue is specious. Having proposed the jury instructions, the government knows that they accurately stated the law, that they included that government's theory of an illicit common purpose, and most importantly, that they told the jury that the government was required to prove an enterprise as charged in the indictment. The problem is not with the instructions, it is with the proofs. Critically, the government fails to acknowledge that the jury instructions incorporated language from the third superseding indictment, including the government's claim that the common purpose of the enterprise was to engage in an illegal common purpose. In the instruction setting forth the existence of an enterprise, the jury was expressly instructed that the indictment alleged that the purposes of the enterprise were to promote R. Kelly's music and the R. Kelly brand, to recruit women and girls to engage in illegal sexual activity with Kellyanne, to produce pornography, including child pornography. D303 at page 24. The instruction also told the jury that although the government is not required to prove each and every allegation about the enterprise the enterprise proved must be essentially the one alleged in the indictment ID at page 29. In other words, the government conceded that it was required to prove that defendants' employees or so-called inner circle shared a common purpose to engage in illegal or illicit conduct, namely, to recruit women and girls to engage in illegal sexual activity with Kelly and to produce pornography, including child pornography. The government pretends that it never charged an illegal common purpose, pompously declaring the parties' proposed instructions, adopted by the district court, set a benchmark for the government to meet. The government met the mark, and Kelly now objects that the government did not instruct sufficient evidence for the jury to find that another previously unspecified required was met. Governor BR 41. Defendant agrees that the jury instructions set a benchmark for the government to meet. One of those benchmarks was to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the common purpose of the enterprise was to promote defendants' illegal sexual activity. The government failed to meet that benchmark. Defendant did not introduce a new unspecified requirement. Rather, the illicit common purpose element was charged, set forth in the jury instructions, and the jury was instructed that the government was required to prove the enterprise as charged. The government simply failed to prove the charged enterprise theory by arguing that it was never required to prove a common purpose of illegality as the indictment charged. the government is attempting to constructively amend the indictment on appeal to remove that essential element of the RICO enterprise theory. A constructive amendment occurs when the evidence presented at trial alters the essential elements of the charges specified in the indictment. United States v. Dove, 2018 U.S. App Lexus 5685-12, 2D Sir 2018. The indictment here alleged that a common purpose of the enterprise was to promote defendants' illegal sexual conduct, that the government now claims that it was never required to prove the illegal common purpose, is nothing more than an unconstitutional constructive amendment to the indictment. The government alternatively argues that even if Kelly's brief challenging the sufficiency of the evidence were interpreted to challenge the jury instructions, the error is not plain error. There is no error in the jury instructions, plain or otherwise. The jury was expressly told that the government was duty-bound to prove its charge theory of an enterprise, which included a theory that the common purpose of the enterprise was to promote illegal sexual conduct, not merely promote defendants' music. The government failed to prove its theory of an enterprise, and the conviction must now be reversed. The government can cite to no authority that allows it to amend the indictment on appeal to fundamentally alter its theory of the purpose of the enterprise. An enterprise requires a shared purpose of fraudulent or illegality as the government charged in its indictment. The government contends that it was not required to prove a shared illegal or fraudulent course of conduct. Governor BR, at 42, this position by the government represents a profound change of heart where it charged defendant with an enterprise that had a common purpose of an illegal course of conduct, and then instructed the jury that it was required to prove that illegal common purpose. As argued above, the government was required to prove its theory of a common purpose as pled in the indictment and as set forth in the jury instructions. Recognizing that its proof of a common purpose as pled in the indictment was insufficient, the government repeatedly attempts to recast defendants' argument as a challenge to the structure of the organization. Defendants' RICO challenge has nothing to do with the structure of defendants' organization. It is well established that an enterprise can have either a legal or illegal structure, but an enterprise cannot exist without its members sharing a common purpose to engage in a particular course of fraudulent or illegal conduct, as the government knows having pled such a purpose in the indictment. To hold otherwise would mean that any rouge bad actor operating an illegal organization could be prosecuted under RICO. This scenario stretches the RICO statute beyond and contrary to its purpose. The government attempts to distinguish defendants' authority but repeatedly succeeds at proving defendants' point. For example, the government argues that in First Capital Asset Management v. Satinwood, Incorporated, 385 F3D, 159 2D Sir 2004, the alleged common purpose was one grounded in fraud to conceal assets from creditors and the bankruptcy court, and thus this court necessarily analyzed whether such a common purpose had been adequately alleged. Governor BR, at 44, the government seems to forget that it too alleged that the common purpose of the enterprise in this case was to promote the defendant and his illegal sexual conduct. Consistent with the government's own argument, this court should necessarily analyze whether such a common purpose has been adequately proved. The government's attempts to distinguish First Nationwide Bank v. Gelt Funding Corp., 820 F. Sup. 89, SD, New York, 1993, and Malvi U.S. Life Title and Company of New York, 654 F. Sup. 1012, SD, New York, 1987 similarly fail. In both cases, the complaints alleged a common purpose of illegality, just as the government did in this case, having charged a common purpose of illegality amongst the so-called member of the association in fact enterprise. The government was required to prove that common purpose of illegality. Indeed, if the government had not charged a common purpose of illegal conduct in this case, the defendant's motion to dismiss the indictment would have prevailed. The government suggests that Satinwood, First Nationwide, and Mall are not good law because the cases preceded the Supreme Court's decision in Boyle v. United States, 556 U.S. 928, 2009, in which the Supreme Court held that an association in fact enterprise need only have a purpose, relationships among those associated with the enterprise, and longevity sufficient to permit those associate to pursue the enterprise's purpose. Governor BR, at 45 Boyle does not help the government's case. In Boyle, the defendant was charged with a number of bank thefts that were allegedly conducted by a group of loosely organized individuals operating within a larger structure. As the court observed, he participants in these crimes included a core group, along with others who were recruited from time to time. Each theft was typically carried out by a group of participants who met beforehand to plan the crime, gather tools, and assign the roles that each participant would play. such as lookout and driver. The participants generally split the proceeds from the thefts. The group was loosely and informally organized. It does not appear to have had a leader or hierarchy. ID at 941. The Supreme Court held that this association in fact qualified as an enterprise for RICO purposes, notwithstanding the absence of a clear leader. The court was not presented with the question, nor did it answer, whether the members of an association in fact must share a common purpose to carry out an illegal course of conduct, or whether a single bad actor acting within an organization can be guilty of RICO. Indeed, in Boyle, the association in fact's entire purpose was to carry out bank robberies, a decidedly criminal purpose. If anything, Boyle drives home defendants' point that the evidence in this case did not show that the members of defendants' musical collective, whether characterized as formal or informal structure, engaged in conduct demonstrating a shared purpose to carry out an illegal course of conduct. The government purposefully distorts defendants' challenge as one to the structure of the enterprise rather than the purpose of it. If within the context of a legitimate business, as defendants' business was, there does not exist a group of individuals with a shared purpose to engage in a course of fraudulent or illegal conduct, there simply is no RICO enterprise, even if the head of that legitimate business is independently engaging in illegal behavior. The government points this court to the language in United States v. Turkett, 452 U.S. 576, 1981, and Diodario v. Diodario, 901 F. 3D80, 2D Sir 2018, for the proposition that an association in fact enterprise need not have some sort of illicit, much less fraudulent, common purpose. Governor B.R. at 48, the government did not take this view when it presented its theory of a common purpose to the grand jury, or even when it offered its jury instructions. In any event, neither the Turkett nor Diodario courts were presented with this precise question, because there was no dispute about whether the common purpose of the alleged enterprise members were engaged in a criminal or fraudulent course of conduct, as explained in his opening brief, apparently overlooked by the government based on footnote 7 of its brief in Turkett. The court was tasked with deciding whether an enterprise could include an entirely illegitimate enterprise. In its discussion, the court compared various associations in fact that were entirely criminal in nature or were a combination of illegal and legitimate activities. Turkett did not provide any example of an association in fact where its members shared only a legal purpose. Similarly, in Diodario, the association in fact enterprise had a legitimate structure insofar as its stated purpose was to settle the estate, but as this court observed, the defendant and other members of the enterprise shared a common and unambiguous purpose of carrying out a fraudulent scheme to steal from the estate. ID at 87. These cases stand in stark contrast to the instant one. Here the evidence, at best, shows that defendant used unwitting low-level employees to carry out anodyne tasks that facilitated his own criminality. Indeed, the government has failed to cite a single case that suggests, let alone holds, that an enterprise is established when a single bad actor uses status and authority within an organization to enable his private misdeeds. The government also cites United States v. Chauncey, 378 F. 3D 71, First Sir 2004, and United States v. Feldman, 853 F. 2D 648 9th Sir 1988, for the proposition that to establish a RICO enterprise, the government need not show that a corporation has acted with purposeful or unlawful intent. This argument misses the mark. Defendant has never suggested that the government's enterprise evidence was insufficient because his legitimate business entities did not act with an unlawful intent. Defendant's argument is simply that the government did not prove that the charged association in fact enterprise shared any illicit common purpose. Neither Chauncey nor Feldman hold that association in fact enterprise can exist without its members sharing an illicit common purpose. Indeed, Chauncey says the opposite. There the court held, municipal entities can be party of an unlawful purpose association in fact enterprise, so long as those who control the entities shared the purposes of the enterprise. RICO does not require intention or purposeful behavior by corporations, charges as members of an association in fact. Citation omitted. A RICO enterprise animated by an illicit common purpose can be comprised of an association in fact municipal entities and human members when the latter exploits the former to carry out that purpose. Emphasis added. ID at 83. The Chauncey court expressly acknowledged that the members of the association in fact enterprise must be motivated by an illicit common purpose even if the municipality itself need not act purposefully. As the court noted, an association in fact enterprise consisting of people and entities can exist when the people use the organization to carry out their shared illicit common purpose. The court did not hold that an association, in fact, enterprise, can consist of people whose only purpose is to carry out a legitimate and legal purpose. C. The government did not show a common purpose of any illegal or illicit conduct as charged. The government concedes, as it must, that its indictment charged that the common purpose of the RICO enterprise was to recruit women and girls to engage in illegal sexual activity with Kelly and to produce pornography, including child pornography. Governor BR, at 5051. The government generally claims that it proved this illicit common purpose, but almost immediately reverts back to its faulty legal argument, namely that defendant's mere use of his employees for tasks such as driving female guests from one location to another, or providing a woman of unknown age defendant's phone number is sufficient to show a common purpose of recruiting women for illegal sexual activity and the production of child pornography. The government expressly argues the evidence proved that Kelly used his fame and popularity in the music business, combined with a network of individuals at his disposal to target, groom and exploit numerous victims for his own sexual gratification. Governor BR, at 51, even accepting this statement as true, it does not constitute sufficient evidence that the network of individuals shared a common purpose to promote defendants' illegal sexual conduct. The government relies on United States v. Minicone, 960 F2D 1099 2D 1992 for the proposition that the government was only required to prove that the enterprise's common purpose was to promote defendants' music and brand, not defendants' illegal sexual conduct. The government grossly mischaracterizes the holding of Mincone, falsely suggesting that Mincone supports its contention that an enterprise need not have an illegal common purpose if a defendant merely uses his underlings to carry out his private misdeeds. In Minicone, the defendants were charged for their alleged involvement in a wide-ranging criminal enterprise that profited from extortion, loan sharking, illegal gambling, and trafficking in stolen property. ID at 1103. The defendants challenged their convictions on the grounds that the racketeering activities were not sufficiently related to the RICO enterprise, not that evidence of an enterprise was insufficient. ID at 1106. Contrary to the government's argument, the court did not suggest an enterprise exists when a defendant is unable to commit the predicate offenses solely by virtue of his position in the enterprise. Rather, the court's statement pertained to the vertical nexus requirement between the RICO enterprise and predicate racketeering acts. It was not a declaration that a RICO enterprise can exist even where the members have no common purpose of carrying out an illegal course of conduct. The government spills unnecessary ink on its argument that the predicate offenses are related to the activities of the enterprise, detailing its evidence of the predicate acts. Governor BR, at 53. If the government had proved the enterprise's charge, the government's relatedness claim would be well taken, but as discussed at length, the government failed to prove an enterprise. There are no predicate offenses, just stand-alone charges that are time-barred. The government insists that despite the fact that it charged an illicit common purpose, it was not required to prove one. Alternatively, the government claims even if it was required to prove an illicit common purpose, it satisfied its burden because defendants' employees knew he mistreated his girlfriends. The government revives its closing argument, drawing sweeping and unsupported conclusions about the evidence that borders on misrepresenting the record. Cites to the record are noticeably lacking, and the government seems to rely heavily on the PSR, which is replete with hearsay, evidence that was never presented to the jury. But even if the government's greatly embellished version of the evidence was true, its evidence showed only that a handful of employees whose employment with the defendant was short-lived turned a blind eye to defendant's occasional mistreatment of his adult girlfriends. The government writes in its statement of facts, and later incorporates into its argument, that Kelly and his inner circle assisted Kelly in his professional and personal life, also recruiting and maintaining Kelly's female victims, citing A 447-49. A 673, say 1257, Governor BR. At page 5, indeed, it is not even clear what the government means by recruiting and maintaining Kelly's female victims, but the testimony to which the government cites to back up this aggrandized narrative is devoid of facts from which the jury could have fairly concluded that defendant's employees shared a common purpose of promoting his illegal sexual activity. For example, Navarro did not testify to a single fact from which a rational juror could conclude that he recruited or maintained defendant's victims. Indeed, the prosecutor did not even question Navarro about defendant's victims, who she never identified in any event. Navarro testified to his general responsibilities as a road manager that included ordering food for defendant's female guests at the studio and driving them home. When asked, in a misleading fashion, prosecutors repeatedly referred to defendant's female guests when questioning his former employees, knowing that those former employees would never agree that they knowingly facilitated defendant's sexual misconduct. But here, the government asks this court to just assume that female guests means defendant's victims. This court may not do so. In sum, Navarro did not utter a single word from which any rational juror could conclude that he and others shared a common purpose to ensure defendants sexually abused women and children or produced pornography. The government also cites to Arnold's testimony as support for its common purpose evidence, claiming that Kelly's inner circle also assisted Kelly's female guests in arranging air travel and hotel rooms, allowing them to visit Kelly across the United States. Governor BR. At page 6, a review of the citations provided by the government at A649 shows only that one of Arnold's responsibilities was to make sure Kelly and his team got to their destinations. Arnold's testimony is cited by the government as devoid of a single reference to Kelly's victims or girlfriends. The government takes enormous liberties with this record that borders on misrepresentations. The government claims that evidence of a common purpose was established because Kelly's inner circle required them to abide by several rules, including signing non-disclosure agreements and getting permission for guests to use the bathroom. The government fails to explain how rules related to non-disclosure agreements and obtaining permission to use the bathrooms in his studio or house shows a common purpose to promote defendants' alleged sex crimes. The government cites to testimony from Diana Copeland, a 1063, and Mayweather 1282, which established nothing more than they were defendants' personal assistants who arranged travel for some of defendants' female guests, a 1063, and that they interacted with defendants' girlfriends, none of whom were underage. Copeland never testified that she made travel arrangements for underage girls or that she was promoting defendants' illegal sexual activities or production of child pornography. Mayweather noted that defendant did not want her interacting with his girlfriends. It is unclear how this testimony showed a common purpose to promote defendants' illegal sexual conduct with women and children. Furthermore, that defendant's personal assistants retrieved prescription medications for him, including Valtrex, does not mean that those assistants had any reason to know that defendant was exposing his girlfriends to herpes without their knowledge in states where it is illegal to do so. It certainly does not establish a common purpose to promote defendants' illegal sexual activities. The remainder of the government's cited evidence merely shows that defendant imposed rules on his employees that were sometimes harsh and that he sometimes mistreated them. Governor BR. At 8, for example, the government makes much of the fact that defendant fined his employees for not abiding by his rules and allegedly requiring them to write letters to admit when they had done something wrong. That defendant was difficult to work for is not evidence that his employees shared a common purpose to promote his illegal sexual conduct. In sum, the government charged defendant under RICO alleging that the purpose of the enterprise was to promote defendant's illegal sexual conduct. The jury instructions set forth that theory and instructed the jury that the government was required to prove that theory. The government's evidence was insufficient. The defendant and the enterprise are not distinct. The government seems to suggest that the distinctness requirement is only applicable in RICO cases involving corporate entities, and that because defendant had an inner circle, the distinctness requirement was satisfied. Not so. The RICO states mandates that a person who engaged in a pattern of racketeering activity must be employed by or associated with the enterprise. Satinwood, 385 F3D 159 2D SIR 20014, Riverwoods Chappaqua Corp. v. Marine Midland Bank, N.A. 30 F3D 339 344, 2D SIR 1994, Bennett v. U.S. Trust Company of New York, 770 F2D 308, 315 2D SIR 1985, Brennan v. Boatman's First Nat Bank of Oklahoma, TBA, 153 F3D 1144, 1146 10th SIR 1998. An entity cannot simultaneously be the enterprise and the person who conducts its affairs, permitting that would be tantamount to permitting an entity to associate with itself. Bennett, 770 F2D at 315, Hirsch v. Enright, 751 F2D 628, 633 3D SIR 1984, McCullough v. Suter, 757 F2D 100, 42 144 7th SIR 1985. In its argument, the government doubles down on its claim that a RICO enterprise exists even when the defendant simply uses the machinery of his organization to enable his sexual misdeeds. If this is true, then an enterprise has no function unrelated to the defendant. They are truly one and the same. In sum, the The government's theory of a RICO enterprise was flawed from the start. The government's evidence, taken in its best light, showed only that defendant employed a collective of people over his 25-plus-year career who promoted his career and his music. They did not share an objective to commit sex crimes against women and girls. Accordingly, the government failed to prove an enterprise, and defendant's racketeering conviction must be vacated. 2. The government's evidence of intent as to the Mann Act violations related to Jane and Faith were insufficient. Defendant relies largely on the arguments contained in his opening brief concerning the sufficiency of the evidence as to the Mann Act violations related to Jane and Faith. However, it bears repeating that the government cannot and did not prove that defendant's motivating purpose in transporting Jane and Faith to California and New York was to expose them to herpes in violation of state public health laws. The district court got it wrong when it held that the intent element is satisfied by a general intent to engage in legal sex that could be criminally prosecuted for reasons unrelated to the travel. Recognizing the district court's flawed analysis, the government attempts to fold the prohibited sexual activity into the real purpose of the travel, arguing that defendant's motivating purpose for the travel was to engage in unprotected sex in his usual manner, without first informing her that he had contracted herpes, and obtaining her consent to sexual intercourse in those circumstances. Governor B.R. At page 61, the government's word games do not save their argument. Defendant's intent in arranging travel for Jane and Faith was not to give them herpes or expose them to an STD. It was to engage them in sexual activity, and not necessarily sexual intercourse the only way to expose them to an STD. The exposure to herpes was merely incidental to the travel. To hold otherwise would mean that even if defendant never went to Faith's hotel room after arranging for her travel there and never had sex with her, he would still be guilty of violating the Mann Act for intending to expose her to a sexually transmitted disease. This absurd result undermines the government's contention. The government's attempt to avoid its burden of proof by conflating the incidental consequence, exposure to herpes, into the true purpose of the travel, legal sexual activities, must be rejected. 3. Defendant was denied a fair and impartial jury where several of the seated jurors admitted that they prejudged the defendant's guilt, and trial counsel provided ineffective assistance of counsel when he failed to move to disqualify patently unqualified jurors. Contrary to the government's argument, defendant is not generally complaining that his trial counsel could have done more during voir dire. Rather, defendant contends that his counsel's performance was objectively unreasonable when he did not object to the seating of multiple jurors who one had seen surviving. R. Kelly, 2, were aware of defendant's reputation, that he loves little girls, and 3, were familiar with his prior legal troubles, including his criminal prosecution for creating sexually explicit videos with a minor. Had there been even one juror who had seen surviving R. Kelly seated on defendant's jury, his jury could not be deemed impartial. The government minimizes the extraordinary prejudice that defendant suffered as a result of his counsel's deficient performance. The government argues that defendant cannot demonstrate prejudice because he cannot show that any juror had actual bias. This record demonstrates that before stepping into the courtroom, 2 jurors heard over 360 minutes of victim testimonies, including graphic accounts of urinating on 14-year-olds. If this type of information does not lead to the inference that a person will not and cannot act with impartiality, it is difficult to imagine what would. A whopping 6 jurors were familiar with allegations that defendant had previously sexually abused minors and had faced legal consequences for such conduct. The government attempts to trivialize the prejudice to defendant, but it is simply beyond debate that defendant's jurors suffered from actual bias. Frankly, even if defendant cannot show actual bias should be presumed here. The United States Supreme Court has observed a fair trial in a fair tribunal is a basic requirement of due process. Fairness, of course, requires an absence of actual bias in the trial of cases, but our system of law has always endeavored to prevent even the probability of unfairness. To perform its high function in the best way, justice must satisfy the appearance of justice. Estes v. Texas, 381 U.S. 532, 543, 1965. As Chief Justice Taft said in Turney v. Ohio, 273 U.S. 510, 1927, the requirement of due process of law and judicial procedures is not satisfied by the argument that men of the highest honor and the greatest self-sacrifice could carry it on without danger of injustice. Every procedure which would offer a possible temptation to the average man to forget the burden of proof required to convict the defendant, or which might lead him not to hold the balance nice, clear, and true between the state and the accused, denies the latter due process of law. ID at 532. Indeed, the United States Supreme Court has struck down convictions irrespective of a showing of actual bias, where prejudice is inherent in those convictions. C.e.g., Brito v. Louisiana, 373. U.S. 723, 1963. Turner v. Louisiana, 379 U.S. 466, 1965. This is a case where prejudice is inherent in defendant's convictions, because fully half of his jury was exposed to highly prejudicial and inadmissible evidence that invariably interfered with defendant's cherished constitutional safeguards. In the old, but highly instructive case of Marshall v. United States, 360 U.S. 310, 1959, the United States Supreme Court reversed a defendant's drug conviction after concluding that exposure of some of the jurors to newspaper articles was so prejudicial to justify a new trial, i.e. during the defendant's trial. 2 newspaper articles got before a substantial number of jurors, i.e. at 311. The news accounts contained information that the defendant had 2 previous felony convictions and detailed the circumstances of prior arrests and convictions. i.e. upon learning that the news accounts had reached the jurors, the trial judge questioned the jurors about whether they had seen the articles, i.e. at 312. 7 of the jurors had some exposure to the articles, but all assured the trial judge that they would not be influenced by the news articles and could decide the case on the evidence in the record. The trial judge denied the defendant's motion for a mistrial, finding that there was no prejudice to the defendant. The United States Supreme Court reversed, finding W. We have here the exposure of jurors to information of a character which the trial judge ruled was so prejudicial it could not be directly offered as evidence. The prejudice to the defendant is almost certain to be as great when that evidence reaches the jury through news accounts as when it is part of the prosecution's evidence. It may indeed be greater, for it is then not tempered by protective procedures. ID at 312-313. Consistent with the teachings of Marshall, defendant is entitled to a new trial. 4 jurors were exposed to information of a character that was so prejudicial that it could not be offered into evidence. Indeed, had trial counsel simply moved to disqualify these jurors, it seems likely that those motions for cause would have been allowed. Prejudice to the defendant must be presumed given the inflammatory nature of the information that no average human could put aside. Defendant's convictions must be vacated and a new trial ordered. For the remainder of defendant's arguments, he relies on his opening brief. Respectfully submitted. S. Jennifer Bonjean. Bonjean Law Group, PLLC. 750 Lexington Avenue 9th. Floor, New York, New York, 10022. 718-875-1850.
Awesome. That was it, good people. That was it. That was it. What do you guys think of this paperwork? What do you guys think? I'm going to put the link in and maybe you guys can give me your input and then I can get off this live. All right. What do you guys think of this? What do you guys think? Do you think she knocked it out the box? Do you guys think she knocked it out the box? Any answer? All right, let me play my music for those who have given super chat, guys. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Juanette. Thank you, Spitting Fire. Thank you, T. Jones. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I'm gonna play y'all music. Also, I want to thank those who gave let's see, I Cash Apps. Let me say thank you to my Cash App folks. Hold on a second. Let me go in here and look at my Cash App. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Annette. Thank you, Cool P. Thank you, Black Beauty. Thank you, Trissy. Thank you, Rosie Nosy Rosie. Thank you guys for your Cash App. I appreciate every single one of you guys. Let me play y'all music for you guys. Hold on. Let me play a music for y'all. Hold on. Okay, guys, thank you, thank you. You are so welcome, Red Bunny. If you guys notice that some of you guys got mods, there's some changes in the channel. Only mods that I'm gonna have is those who are members. That is one of the perks that of membership in this channel. You will get a mod wrench. Those, if you notice, some of you guys who were mods are gonna no longer be mods if you're not a member of the channel. That's the new requirement if you want mod you know, wrenches. Thank you, thank you, Red Bunny. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. There's some great changes that's being happening in the chat. So if you're not a member, your wrench is going to be gone. If you wake up tomorrow and it's gone, that's because you're not a member of the channel. Okay, membership has its privileges, like American Express. Membership got its privileges. So if you're not a member, you're not gonna have a mod wrench. And I thank you guys for your years of modding, but there's some changes that's going to be made in this channel. Membership has its privileges. That's one of the perks. Okay. So, any questions in the reading? What do you guys think of her motion? Do you think she knocked it out the box? Oh, you know what? Let me put the poll out here. Y'all gonna answer the question here. Here's my poll. Okay, that's my question. That my question for you guys. You sound great to you. I'm backstage. Oh, you backstage? I'm sorry. I'm on the other side. Sorry, Spitfire. I was on the other side. My bad. My
What's
bad.
going on? It's been a minute.
I know. How are you? Wusa.
So okay, so let me see where I began.
Okay.
I was gonna go live this time of night, and then I seen that you was reading Jennifer brief. I probably will read it later. So I never wanted to take away from that because that's initially why we here. Yeah. So I was like, well, I'm not gonna go live. So I goes over to the main sector, okay. Mm-hmm. And I know a lot of you, you probably be stay in the bushes or don't know a lot of the channels, or some of you may, I don't know. But I'll go over to the main sector, and we all knew what happened about a month ago when Kels talked to Kwame, and it was a big blow up, and it just shook the internet, and it just went crazy. Mm-hmm. And so I was on Kwame panel during that time. Mm-hmm. I was on Kwame panel during that time. That's right before I got my channel clipped, right? Mm-hmm. And I was on this about a month ago. I was on Kwame panel, and there was some heated conversations because they know who I advocate for, who I'm down with Kels, and y'all know I argue that all day long. Okay, I will argue Kels all day long. Mm-hmm. So I was arguing it, and there was a heated discussion with me and one of the guys, and y'all, sometimes I don't understand. Like, this guy, I was on Kwame's channel, and he's down over there in that sector, right? This guy gave me, we going back and forth on that panel, guys. He gave me the business, right? So we going back and forth, and he was talking about R. Kelly, and I'm like, you know how I am. So I'm like, okay. I respect him though. I respect the difference of opinion, because the one thing I did respect about him is that he didn't go with the name calling, and the conversation was actually the conversation about the subject matter. You get what I'm saying? It didn't get personal. It didn't get this and it get that. And I was there. So I shouted them out on my channel because I was like, that was a good conversation. That was a good, come back and forth, because when it get real good, and it was classy though. And so today I'm over there on the MIB, and I go over to another channel, and that very guy that I had that was telling me R. Kelly is nasty, and it just was so wrong for him to date young women that young too. And I was like, okay, but it's not illegal. And that was my argument and stuff. And this guy gave me the business, y'all. And I goes over on the channel after I did the meal. And I go into somebody's channel and I see the heading. And as I see the heading, I'm drinking water and I almost choked. Like literally, that's how shocked I was. I almost choked, y'all. That particular guy that gave me the business is on the registry. And they
whoa. Registry, like they have to be.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Offender registry?
Yes. Oh. After he gave me all this business about Kels, right? Gave me the blues, y'all. I mean, he was going head up with me, right? Then I goes over there to this channel over in the main sector, and I said, y'all tell me this ain't so, right? And they was like, it's for real. So I'm like, I still don't believe it, really. I don't know. So I text KB. Okay. I said, I hit him up and I'm like, what up? Like, is this real? He was like, yeah, it's real. I'm like, this MF, and I ain't gonna say because I know you don't like us, but this MF gave me the business over Kels. So as I'm in this chat, y'all, as I'm in this chat, he say, I was, what did he say? What did he say tonight? It was, shoot, I'm paraphrasing because I can't remember word for word. But he said, the legal system did him wrong. I said, I choked. I had to go, I don't even drink. And I had to go pour me a cocktail. Because as we sit up here and we talk about injustice, and we do all this for our the fakeness, the whole thing about our people. Like, I just literally was like, I know this is a lie, right? Like, this guy gave me the business on a major platform. 400,000 people. And they found out, how people find out. They over there, because they over there beefing over there. How we used to be a year or two ago, that's how they is over there. Okay, we calm down because it ain't nothing else to do over here. But as far as how we used to be turned up all the time over here, they over there acting a fool, right? And so much so that we were followed. Remember I told y'all I was followed over there, right? And I'm just like, because I was outing the opposition, because everybody over there claiming everybody is on the registry basically, or those similar type of claims. So I'm thinking to myself, how are these people who's supposed to be against Kels and giving us the business over here in this sector go follow me over there and be on the opposition over there just to be the opposite of me and KB, when everybody over there claiming to be or saying that they were inappropriate with one something or someone or at one point in time. So my thing is the hypocrisy, I'm like I'm just so shocked, Sylvia. Like I'm literally really shocked. Like I did. I sent KB a long text. Oh yeah, he got the business for me. I sent him the text. You know I don't hold him up. I don't hold him up. And see, the thing of it is, y'all, when R. Kelly called him, people over there were upset because for some reason, when you have somebody that is well known, for some reason, there's all these agendas people think. And they think you taking them away, and they think that just let it be known that it was all fake in the beginning. It was all fake in the beginning. So I guess they thought KB was gonna be over here, and all they said all kind of stuff. But my head hurts so bad, and I'm like, I can't believe this. I cannot believe it. I can't believe it so much so that I ain't even go live. I was just like, I got a headache. You know how sometimes you just gotta wait for something to calm down, your head to stop hurting.
Yeah.
They we've been saying this stuff and talked about injustice over here for almost 4 or 5 years. And you challenge me, and you yourself on the registry.
Dang. It's messed up.
Ain't that messed up?
Yeah. That's some messed up stuff.
So that's just how it went the last 2 hours of me.
So did he say something? What did he say?
He said the very same thing that we've been talking about on the R. Kelly situation. So it don't go for Kels, but it go for you. Like, but you didn't think nobody was gonna find that out. You over here beefing. You didn't. I mean, what did you not think? What did you?
Didn't think anybody was gonna find it out. That's what happened.
But if you were on it and you claimed that you were falsely done by the legal system, then how are you gonna give me the flack you gave me a month ago? It was so much flack that he gave me. I came back on my live and did something about it. I'm like, y'all, it's so crazy. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna do it tomorrow. I'm not gonna be up late, but I'm gonna do it tomorrow, probably Friday. Yeah, because I get my hair done on Fridays.
Yeah.
So probably Friday. And when I do it on Friday, I'm gonna play the part with this boy just talking down. It was that big blow up, and then I'm gonna play my part, and then I'm just gonna look in the camera like you can't make this stuff up.
That's crazy.
And I said that, and I just said it the other day. I said, all y'all owe me an apology. All the men owe us an apology. All the men owe us women an apology. Wow. They do. We sitting up here advocating for them, trying to get the truth out, how the legal system doing them wrong. And they just Pretty Brown asked me over there every now and again. She said they whole sector is a mess. We was worse than them at one point in time, Pretty Brown ass, but they a mess now. That's only because ain't nothing happening over here in the Kel sector. But they a whole mess over there now. And then they come at me, right? And I told them, I'm not coming back. I'm not finna fight in 2 sectors. I ain't finna do that. Y'all ain't finna work my nerves. I ain't finna do that. I fight over here in the Kel sector. Now, if you gonna come over here in this sector, I fight with you. But I ain't fighting in 2 sectors now. Y'all ain't supporting like that. Shoot.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, they ain't supporting like that. You know how many girl I be on here all the girl, my hair be coming out. It's already coming out. It be coming out even more. Yeah, I heard him spin fire when you were on KB show, and he is the one that he said you knew Kelly in Chicago at the school. Yeah, I think he was saying, yeah, that was the other guy too, T. Jones, and he was saying he was the one that was saying that if you 16, you should be dating a 16-year-old, and if you know everybody should date the same age. He was that guy. And I said, that don't make no damn, doggone. That don't make no doggone sense.
Wait a minute.
You know what I'm saying? That I caught myself. That don't make no doggone sense. Like, that doesn't even make sense. People just, when you get a certain age, you may like older people. That don't even make sense, though. To say, okay, if I'm 50, I only can date somebody 50.
That's kind of stupid. That means you're gonna be stuck with that. It's suppose there's nothing in that little kit, the kit.
Well, first of all, we're not equal. There's a lot more women than men. So there's gonna be a lot of men without a woman. I mean, a lot of women without a man. There's gonna be a lot of women without a man. With his the way he got things said. He said everybody should be dating the same age. That's him. T. Jones. He said everybody should date the same age. He disgusting. He nasty. I said, well, and then that's the one that's I said, well, you can sit up there and what I say? I said you sit up there and you can they can manipulate you. No, a young girl can't manipulate me. A young girl can't manipulate me because the conversation ain't the same. I said, please. You crazy. You can be manipulated by anybody.
Yeah.
You crazy. And he told me I ain't know what I was talking about. That's what he said. He told me I didn't know what I was talking about and everything else. I said, you can be shoot. People, I said, and then that was right around the time that Carly Russell girl faked her kidnapping. I said she manipulated the whole doggone country.
Wow.
What you talking about? Had people giving and man hunting for her. She manipulated the whole legal system.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying, people? But when you take the time, and then so when I do my videos, a lot of the times when I say about manipulation, I be referring back to that conversation on KB's panel. But we've been proving these people wrong since we came on the scene, and it's so sad it get busted after the fact, though. We've been right since we started.
Yeah.
You know, the only reason why Kels got convicted because of the victim era. I said, well, shoot. I'm trying to tell you. Then they acting and they playing on people's emotion. But if it was the old-fashioned laws when people actually go by the truth, he'd have walked again.
Yeah.
And I don't care what nobody say. But I just was so messed up over that tonight, y'all. I just was like, you know how you just like, I don't even feel like it. I ain't even feel like it tonight. I ain't feel like going in or going live. So I just came over here, seeing what you was live. I caught the end of the brief.
Yeah.
I'm gonna read it. I said I was gonna read it and put it up myself. So I caught the end of it though.
Yeah, I let my computer read it now.
Yeah, I see. You let your computer read it. So what did you think about it? Just to give me a little summary.
Well, I think she hit all the bullet points of of a lot of things that was said. She expanded a lot.
And this one was in what district?
This is New York,
Oh,
second district. I mean circuit, second circuit.
okay. Because she was responding to the governments.
Yes.
Okay.
Remember, she originally did the brief, then they came, and then she came to respond it, and now they're gonna wait for the oral argument.
Okay. Okay. Now they gotta wait for the oral argument. Okay. Well, at least it's moving along.
Yeah, that's pretty good. It's pretty good.
At least it's moving along. Okay. So now at least it's moving along. She's getting it done.
She surely is.
She's getting it done. Well, I'm not gonna hold you up. I just wanted to come and let you know I bought some merch.
No, you did?
Yes, I did.
Oh,
Sure
what
did.
much? What? Oh, you
I
bought.
like it. I like it too. But I wish you would get some slip-ins.
I'm gonna look around and see everything that's on this thing here. I'm trying
Yeah.
to get back up
Because
there.
if you got the t-shirt and you got the hat, people may want the slip-ins too.
What's the slipping? The
Like
slip.
the flip-flops, like the little slides.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because they ain't no need to get no leggings and t-shirt and the bucket hat and you ain't got no slides.
Yeah, I'm gonna do.
And you need a tote.
Didn't I have a tote? I thought.
No, you had like a cosmetic bag.
Okay, I'm gonna get the tote. I'm gonna get some more stuff, y'all. Please bear with me. I'm just trying to be a businesswoman now.
It's cute. I like your logo on that stuff. It's cute.
Thank you.
Yeah, I do like your logo. You know what I'm saying? I do like your logo. I know, and make sure your logo is right too, because I've ordered some people merch and their logo was all messed up, and I didn't tell them that though. I just was like, I purchased it, but
Well, see, I've done this. This is the same one we had. So I had tested out when I was doing giveaways. And all of them and gave them away. They were pretty good.
Yeah, I gotta do my merch store. I'm lazy. I don't feel like doing mine. I don't feel like I need to do it too. I need to practice what I preach. I need to do it. I really do. But I got so much stuff going on. I'll probably do it probably the end of the year or something.
Yeah, I'm gonna get some stuff going.
I'll probably get it done around the holiday season or something. But I got I told you earlier. I got a lot going on, so that's the last thing that I'm thinking about. Yeah, you can't make this stuff up. No, with that, you can't make it up. You can't make it up. Like, how you argue somebody down, Sylvia, and tell me about this man and how wrong he is, and you on the registry. This is insane. I'm literally scared now to talk to anybody. Like, forget it. I'm just gonna stay in my sector. Y'all said y'all some crazy people. Like, literally. I want to know what you got. I want to know what he got to say to me.
He's not gonna say anything because I mean, he's been exposed.
He went in the chat and he said what he said. He said that they shoot. I want to see word for word what he said. Hold on, I ain't gonna show it on your chat, but I want to see word for word what he said because word for word what he said. Because this stuff is crazy.
Not KB. KB's not on there.
Huh?
Is his name KB? No, right?
No, not him.
No.
Nah, not him. Nah. It's the one that I was. Let me see. When I was. Okay, so he was in the chat before me. He was in the chat before me. I'm on here now. And when did I come in? I came in after my live from the MIB because I had some issues. They was over there flagging me on the MIB. They still trying to take the MIB down from me.
Wow.
I don't know why, because I ain't gonna do nothing but come back. I ain't gonna do nothing but come back. You're not gonna. You took me 3 times. You know they took the MIB 3 times. They took me 3 times. They took me last year. They took me back in March, and they took me back in May. I was gone a month, and I came back. I'm just gonna come back
Stronger and better
and faster.
and
The first time that they took me, it took me 3 months to get 1,000 subs. I've been back 7 weeks and almost got 1,000 already.
Congratulations.
You get what I'm saying? So, it is what it is. And then, what make it so bad about it? Let me tell y'all what they do. So they've been trying to come at you, girl. And I was like, okay, y'all don't understand I'm being nice because I don't want to get my channels taken because I'm already on the hook on the MIB and stuff like that. And I already just came back from Spin Fire being suspended. I've been in YouTube jail a lot this year. And it ain't had nothing to do with the chaos factor. So I'm trying to get my stuff clean, and clear. So I said, they sure is trying me though, Sylvia. They sure is trying me though. Ooh, that child sure trying me. Oh, what one of the ladies said, she used to be over here in this sector. She didn't think I knew it because she asked me, she was being, how somebody being nice, nasty. She was being nice, nasty, and I was being nice, nasty right back. She gonna say, what she said, asked me, was I kin to R. Kelly or something? Because this was after being the guy that, was outed over there. So I said, every Black man is my family. That's how I look at it. You know what I'm saying? So she ain't say nothing wild. I know she was like, you know what? Whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Don't be sitting up there trying to be funny. Let me see.
It's crazy.
He said something about I was railroaded by the legal system. You should have seen the way I looked.
He was railroaded, but R. Kelly wasn't, huh?
So what I've been saying? What about? I was like, you could have not have listened to what I said then.
Crazy.
You could not have listened to what I said. If that's your response, you could not have listened to what I've said.
Crazy, crazy, crazy.
And I came in like towards the middle, towards the end. Yeah, because I said I'm back. I literally had to take a drink. So I was in that person's chat and I said that. I literally had to. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand. And then she, you know what I'm saying? She gonna say, what the other lady gonna say? Oh, I forgot what she said. But, she's trying to be nice, nasty. She just don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't play nice, nasty.
Yeah.
I just go ahead and go off, but I ain't go off. I was good, Sylvia. I gotta learn how to be good sometimes.
Definitely.
Whatever. Well, I'm gonna go ahead on and go.
Well, thank you for stopping by.
Yeah, no problem. Bye.
All right, I'm gonna take my butt to bed now.
Okay, bye-bye.
Yeah, good night. All right, good people. Thank you, Spitting Fire, for stopping by. Folks, as you can tell by my voice, I'm very, very tired, and I am going to take my butt to sleep. I have a long day tomorrow and a long rest of the week. If I have not said it before, thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you for everyone who donated to the channel. Your donation is I'm extremely grateful for it. It's going to help us with the things that we're doing and moving forward on this channel right here, so we can continue bringing you updates and content. And there's a lot of changes that's going to happen in this channel, and I can't wait for you guys to see the changes. And we're just moving on up. So I will see you guys, wonderful people, later. Just stay tuned. You're going to be pleasantly surprised of what God has in store for this channel. And that's why we have to make some of these changes. Okay. I know if people are going to get offended, but please let me, change has to come. It's been too long. It's overdue. It's overdue. Change is necessary. You can't grow without having changes. And we're in the process of growing. We can't stay stagnant and being back. There's so many things that's happening in this channel right now. There's so many avenues, so many doors, windows being open in this channel, and I'm grateful to God. I can't stay the same anymore. It's not the same Sylvia anymore. Not the same. Absolutely not the same. So on that note, Sylvia, you have any more caps? I only see the other hat. Janice, I'm gonna go and see. We're still building. Me and my team are building. I have a team of people, wonderful people, who's helping me to get things going. A wonderful, wonderful team of individuals who's trying to see the vision of the channel, and we're going to bring you the informations and things like that once we get all together. It's not the same infamous channel anymore. Is is. I'm looking for the store. You can't find the store, Koopy? I think Ashley had it in there. Ashley Nelson, can you put it in there for Koopy, please? There it is right there. Ashley got it. There it is right there. Just click the link that Ashley put in. It's gonna be some more stuff we added on to it, okay? So I'm gonna be gone. I'm gonna take some time off from the channel for a little while. If anything comes up, there's some things I'm learning. I'm being trained. I'm being trained for growth. So you won't see too much of me on the channel. There's going to be videos dropping and things like that. It's going to be a lot of changes on this channel, okay? And I just want to thank every single one of you guys for hanging on in there with me so long. But you're going to be pleased in the changes and the people that's going to be coming through here on this channel. God is opening so many doors, and can't stay the same any longer. And growth, you have to change. With growth, you have to change. So, any questions? All right, you guys, you have an awesome, awesome, awesome day. And remember, if you come in and you don't see your wrench, it's because membership has its privileges. In order for you to be a mod, you have to be a member. All right? Have a great one. God bless you. Good night.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Hold on now. Wait a minute, fellas. Wait a minute. I think it goes something like this. Whoa. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Can somebody take these burdens off of me? Off of me. Can somebody take these burdens off of me? Off of me. Cause every time I turn around, there's something trying to keep me down. Can somebody take these burdens off of me? Off of me. Whoa, can somebody take these burdens off of me? Off of me. Can somebody take these burdens off of me? Off of me. When I look up, don't you know, burdens knocking at my door. So won't you come and take these burdens off of me? Off of me. Oh, come and take these burdens off of me. Off of me. Somebody come and take these burdens off of me. Off of me. Soon as I get up off the ground, my burdens knock me right back down. Can somebody take these burdens off of me? Off of me. Somebody take these burdens off of me, off of me. Somebody take these burdens off of me, off of me. Somebody take these burdens off of me, off of me. Well, off of me, off of me. Oh, off of me, off of me. Well, off of me, off of me. Get them off of me, off of me. Come and break the chain. Come and break the chain. Off of me. Get it off of me. Off of me. Get it off of me. Off of me. I need somebody. I need somebody. I need somebody. I need somebody to get this burden. To get this burden. Can somebody take these burdens off of me?
And remember, our Robert Sylvester Kelly is coming home. Juanette, it's Mr. Robert Sylvester Kelly is coming home. Robert Sylvester Kelly is coming home. You have a good night, everybody.